This
this
conference will now be recorded.
primary
Yeah, go
file
ahead.
and the file group. And after that, I created that the files in the file group and the primary file, but it is not getting deleted. Actually, we have done this in our session also, so we are unable to delete those files because the error is coming. There is the data in these files.
Right.
So how to
So
remove
once
that delete?
once once a file group or once a file is created, SQL start writing into those files, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
either we need to, uh, remove the entire database, or we can add a new file, or we can move the file. But
Hello.
Devabrata, you're not audible.
saying is, am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
You're
yes,
audible now.
now you're audible.
Yes, you are ready.
Yeah. So when we create a new file, SQL in the background start writing into the file. Okay. So when SQL is writing into the file, SQL will not allow to delete a particular file from the database. That will bring the database into an inconsistent state, right? So
Yeah.
once we create a file, better we prepare to allocate the file in a location where the file can be placed safely. Okay. And when the file is created, it's very tricky to remove the file. We can remove the database, we can move the files, but SQL will not allow you to remove the file.
So that means we have to delete the whole database.
I mean, the requirement of adding a file is not like adding, I mean, the requirement of adding a file is we need the file. A database is ever growing. A database is not going to shrink back. Okay. So
Yeah.
the the point is we need more space, right? That is why we are adding a file. So whenever we are adding a file, the database started writing into the file. So whenever database started writing into the file, there are dependencies on the file that is already created by the database, right? So we cannot remove the file.
Okay. All right.
All right, so let me share my screen. In the last class, we have learned about how we can take a full backup, differential backup, and log backup. And before we start with the restoration, we have two more backups to, you know, consider, which is tail log backup and copy only backup. Okay. So this is one database. The database name is demo. Okay. Now let's say I want to take a tail log backup of the database demo. What is the meaning of tail log backup? The meaning of tail log backup is taking backup of the very last portion of the log file. In other words, whenever we are taking a log file backup, so database is, there are multiple connections to the database, and those connections are creating multiple, they are doing multiple operations continuously, like inserting data into the table, uh, updating the information on the table, right? They are continue they are continuously they are writing the logs into the transaction log file as well. That means whenever we are taking a log file backup, we are not assuring that this is the last part of the log. Even if we are taking a log backup, we know that there has been something which is written after that, right? So we need to make sure that we are taking the last part of the log file, right? So if we need to assure that after we take a backup, there would be nothing written in the log file after we take the backup. To assure that, we need to make sure that our database is not accessible anymore once we finish our log backup, right? So how we can make assured that nothing will be written in the log file after the backup or log backup? If we make the database inaccessible, then only we can assure that thing, right? Now this thing is called as tail log backup. So tail log backup is nothing but, you know, taking a log backup, and once the log backup is done, it will make the database inaccessible. So that will not allow any transaction to happen in the database. Okay. So this is the syntax: backup log, then database name. In this case, the database name is demo. Okay. Let's say I want to take the database tail log backup of the database demo. Okay. To disk, I want to place the backup in this location, and I want to name it demo underscore tail log. Okay. So this is the option that we need to place. So with no truncate is fine, but this is the this is the parameter that we need to add in our script so that we can make sure that our database is not accessible anymore. Okay. So no recovery will put our database into recovery state or restoring state. That will not allow any further connection to the database. So if I take the backup, you can see this is the database, right? And once the backup is done and I refresh the database folder, you can see the database became into restoring state. So you cannot create a new connection to demo database. Demo database is not listed here. You cannot make a connection to this database anymore. So that is doing what? That is making sure that no data is getting updated, no new log is getting inserted, right? So the log that I have just backed up, that is the very last log, that is the very last log file that would be present in the database, right? That is why it is called as tail log backup. In other words, the tail part of the log file or the very last part of the log file. Is it clear to everyone?
Devabrata,
Yes.
Saurabh here. One question.
Mhm. Yeah, tell me.
So, talking about this tail log backup file, right? What I am understanding is we won't be taking backup of this in a running database, right? Like when it has to be taken down or go offline or whatever, like it has to be made offline, apart from online, anything else, then that time we take it, right?
Yeah, I mean, taking a tail log backup will cause a downtime for the application because the database will not accessible anymore after taking the backup.
Got it.
But
Yeah.
there is no other way you can ensure that you have the everything of a database. So
Hmm.
you can be rest assured that you have every single part of a database only if you take a full backup, if you take a differential backup, if you take a log backup, and then after that you take a tail log backup, right? So to take a tail log backup, you need to make sure that the database is not accessible anymore. If
Hmm.
it is accessible, then this tail log backup will become a normal log backup because after this backup is done, something else would be written in the log file, right? So this is
Yeah.
not becoming a part of a tail part of the log. It will only become a tail part or last part of a log file if after the backup nothing has been written in the database. So to make sure nothing has been written in the database, we need to bring down the database, right? So after tail log backup, database will go into restoring state.
Got it.
Restoring state, or inaccessible state, right? Now the question is how we can bring our database back up online. The syntax is we have used this option no recovery. Now we have to use the option recovery. Okay. No recovery means the database will not be in accessible mode. Recovery mode means the database will be into accessible mode. So restore database, here would be our database name, let's say demo, then with recovery. If I run this command, that will bring our database into recovery. Okay. Now we can create
What is
connection
the
to our demo database. Okay. Now what is this restore database command that we are going to learn next? Okay.
what's the
Sorry, your voice is not audible. Hello.
Devabrita, do we have this option through UI option also, or we have to run the
Yes.
syntax only?
I mean, mostly we need to run it using script because UI don't give the flexibility. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the next and the last type of backup is copy only backup. Now, what is copy only backup? As we know that we have a chain or we have a sequence of backup, right? And the backups are dependent with each other. So if I say tail log backup, so this backup is dependent on this backup is dependent on this backup is dependent on this, right? Now let's say if in between I take a full backup, so the entire chain will be broken, right? So what we can do to preserve the backup chain, to preserve the backup chain and still be able to take a backup, we have the option of copy only backup. Copy only backup you can take anytime, anywhere on a database without interrupting the existing backup chain. Is it clear to everyone? So copy only backup, this type of backup can be taken anytime without interrupting the sequence of backup chain. Now what is the backup chain? Example of backup chain.
This one, full differential log, then tail log.
Yes. So let's say we are taking a full backup, then we are taking a differential backup, then again we are taking a differential backup, then we are taking a log backup, then we are taking a log backup, then we are taking a log backup, and so on. And after that, let's say after this, again we have taken a full backup, then we have taken a differential backup, then we have taken a log backup. Now this is a backup sequence. This is a backup sequence because every backup sequence starts with a full backup, right? So in middle of this chain, if someone says to take a full backup, so this chain will be broken if I take a full backup in the middle, right? So that is the reason we have the copy only backup option, which will allow us to take a backup any point in time without disturbing the backup chain. Is it clear?
Yes, this is clear, but what will the copy backup contain? Like, what I am understanding is it will be bigger in size compared to all the other types of backup. Is it correct?
So copy only backup is basically a full backup without disturbing the backup sequence. So for us, it's a full backup. That's it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me show you how to take a copy only backup.
Then what's the difference between copy only backup and full backup?
So if I take a copy only backup, let's say I have
Hmm.
taken a copy only backup. Okay. As this backup doesn't have any sequence attached to it, on this backup, I cannot apply any differential backup. So I cannot go forward in time. Okay. So I have taken a copy only backup at 1 p.m.
Hmm.
and there are some differential backup which has been taken after the copy only backup, let's say 2 p.m., 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Those
Hmm.
differential backups I cannot apply on this copy only backup. So copy only backup is an independent backup which can be applied as a standalone manner. It cannot
Okay.
be applied in chain. Okay, that is, we have applied full backup on top of that differential, on top of that differential. So we cannot do that with copy only backup. We can only restore a copy only backup. That's it.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So let me, that's a demo full. So see, it's a full. Now we need to enable this checkbox, copy only backup. That's it. That's the only difference. Okay. Media options is fine. This is fine. Media options, we can enable this to option for reliability. Okay. Rest part is exactly the same. That the only difference is we need to enable this copy only backup checkbox. That's it. Now if I click on OK, the copy only backup is done. So that is about taking a copy only backup. Now what is the use case? The use case is there are some scheduled backup plan that is going on for a database, right? There are scheduled backup plans that is going on for a database and someone told you to take a backup of a database and restore it in somewhere else. So you cannot take a backup simply because that will interrupt the entire backup chain which is going on in the background. So I'll show you guys how to schedule, the backups. All right. So as there are backups which is going on in the background and you don't want to disrupt those backup chain, so that is when the copy only backup will be handy for you. So whenever you want to take any ad hoc backup, you can take simply a copy only backup and do the operation. All right. So let me tell you some backup strategy which is very popular in the industry or industry standards, I would say. Okay. So in the industry, uh, we generally take weekly full backup. Okay. Let's say at 12 a.m. weekly full backup. So we are going to take full backup only once in a week. Then daily differential backup except Sunday, because Sunday we are taking full backup, right? So every day we are going to take a differential backup and every hour we are going to take a log backup. That means in worst case scenario, we are going to lose 1 hour of data. Now, how we can minimize the data? How we can minimize the data loss? We can minimize the data loss by increasing the frequency of log backup. So, so instead of taking hourly log backup, you can take log backup in every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, right? So When you increase the frequency of log backup, that means you are minimizing the data loss, because in every 30 minutes you are backing up the log file. That means you are backing up your data, right? So what would be the sequence? So let's say my backup schedule is going on like this. Now, how I can restore my database? So I'll be restoring the full backup of Sunday. On top of that, I'm going to restore the differential backup of Saturday.
And
On top of that, I'm
the
going to
last
restore all the log backups. Now the question is, all the log backups of Saturday. Now the question
of
is,
second. Huh, correct.
why we restored only the last differential backup? Because differential backup is cumulative in nature. That we already discussed in the last class, right? So we discussed that differential backup will calculate from the last full backup. If you guys remember, so differential backup takes backup of only the changed value after a full backup. So if we are taking differential backup on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so Monday will calculate from Sunday to Monday, whatever data has been changed. Tuesday will calculate Sunday to Tuesday, whatever data has been changed, because the full backup is taken on Sunday, right? Wednesday will calculate from Sunday to Wednesday. Thursday will calculate from Sunday to Thursday. Friday will calculate from Sunday to Friday. Saturday will calculate from last Sunday to Saturday. That means we are getting the full backup of Sunday. On top of that, entire week of data we are getting from Saturday differential backup, right? And then every 30 minutes we are taking a log backup. So whatever log backup is there on Saturday, we are restoring all the log backup on top of this. That will give us our latest data, right? Is it clear to everyone?
One
Yes,
question,
sir.
Deva. See, if
Yes.
we are depositing, like if we are saving this many backups, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
do we ever delete the backups, the old ones? Does it happen, or we keep it forever?
So in the industry we have retention period,
Okay, okay, okay.
all right? So in industry we generally retain one yearly backup, one half yearly backup, one quarterly backup, one monthly backup, and we generally maintain full, I mean, we generally keep 1 week of full backup set. That means if anything happens within 1 week, we can recover till 1 week. So the backup set or the backup chain that is available, that will not be deleted for 1 week. So that can vary. That can vary depending on the business requirement or the data criticality, right? So retention period could be anything depending on the business requirement and data criticality. But we do have retention period that will remove the old backups. Okay. And the question is where these backup files are stored. So these backup files are generally stored in tape devices. What is tape device? Tape
Not
device
the
is
Ha-
something
Hard disk.
which is even slower than hard disk drive.
You mean the
So why
cassette?
we are, yeah, kind of. So why we are choosing tape device? Because tape device is the cheapest option which is available. So when we need to store a backup, which is yearly backup, half yearly, so we may not need them. We don't need the performance. We just need the storage. Even if something happens sometime in the future, then we can take up this yearly backup, and then it may take 1 hour or 2 hours to pull out the data from tape device. That's okay with us. But the primary focus is how we can save or dump these backup files in cost effective way. That is why mostly we use tape devices to store the backup files. But in current scenario, disk devices or disk uh, storage also in use, okay, because hard disk drives are now very cost effective as well, and they also give better performance than tape devices. So in some of the cases they also use disk storage as well. All right, so that was about the backup strategy. All right. So as I said, the restoration strategy would be something like this: restoring the full backup, then restoring the full and differential backup, and then restoring full differential and log backup, right? What would be the restoration order? The restoration order will start with full with no recovery. Okay, so I'll come to that why no recovery option is very important. So restoration option will always start with full. On top of full we can apply differential. On top of differential we can apply log. There is another option, we can restore full, and on top of full we can directly apply log. Okay, so that we are going to see next. All right, so that is about backup restore examples. So we are there are some backup schedule which is in place. So full backup, differential backup, log backup, differential. So the schedule is going on, right? So the backup schedule is there, but in between, if we need to take a ad hoc backup, then we cannot ask to retrieve the backup from tape device, right? That will be very time consuming, and that would be difficult to manage as well. That is why we can always take a copy only backup in between the backup schedule. All right, is it clear to everyone?
Subhabrata, so
Yeah, tell me.
do you mean this that it is advisable to take copy backup in between?
Yeah, whenever you are getting a ad hoc request, okay, then
Yeah,
the recommendation is to use copy only backup.
all right.
Okay, so coming next is about restoration techniques. Okay, so let's go to the slide. So understanding of the restoration process, restoration of databases, what are the different restoration scenarios, and point in time recovery. Now, first question is why we need restoration? Any idea? So we are taking backup for what?
For restoration.
No, yeah, that is true only, but the thing is we are taking backup when we
For safety.
for safeguard our data, right? To maintain the availability of our data. If something happens to our database or if something happens to our server, we want to make sure that our data will be there so that we can create another system and we can restore our data in another system. right? So data safety, data availability, these are the reasons to take a database backup. Now, why we want to restore? What is the purpose of restore? What is the purpose of a restore?
To retrieve
Unfortunately,
the data
sometimes we
from backup
So
when we lose the data.
continue the business.
yeah, so let's say something happens to our database, right? The data center where we saved our database, the data center got down, or the data center, let's say the data center got hacked, or the server where we hosted our server got crashed, right? So what will happen next? What's next? Next, we have our database backups, which is available. Now we need to get our data back from the database backups. Now to get the database back from database backup, we need to use restoration process. Okay. So in simple words, restore will recover your database from database backup. Okay. So there are different phases in a restoration process. There are different type of restoration, and we need to prepare ourselves for restoring a backup. Okay. And we need to uh, we need to see different scenarios where we are taking backups and we are doing the restorations. All right. So so before we go for the phases of restoration, let's do one thing. Let's first take a hands-on on backup process, how we can take different type of backups, and then we are going to proceed with restoration process. So I want uh, a volunteer from this class who wants to share the screen and do the database backup. So Saurav raised his hand, I guess. Is it
Yeah, I
so, Saurav?
raised. This is. I'm fine for sharing, but I actually joined with my other laptop. Just give me a minute. I'll join with the other one.
Mhm. So the problem statement, let me define the problem statement here, or the task here. Okay. The task is take a full backup, take a differential backup, take a log backup. Okay. And these backups we need to take using UI. That is option one.
Okay.
The next part would be done taking a full backup, differential backup, and log backup using script.
For
So we
that, we
have,
have to create a new database.
yeah. So the first step is create a database. Good. Create a demo database.
Yeah, they were with us. So I've joined with my other laptop. Now you can. I'm ready to share the screen.
So using UI would be performed by Saurabh,
Okay.
right? Script, using script. Who will perform using script? I want a volunteer. Who will be performing the backup using script?
Uh, I can do
Prayash.
it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Let me paste the steps in the chat. So first, Saurav, I'm making Saurav the presenter. Where is Saurav? Saurav.
Yeah. Okay.
So Saurav, please,
Hmm.
share your screen and make sure you are explaining the steps you are performing. Okay.
Okay. Is it visible now?
And to everyone, if you have any questions, please ask these questions to Saurav. And if there are some doubts which is left behind, I'll be clarifying those doubts. Okay. So Saurav, your screen is visible. You can go ahead.
Okay. So first one is creating a database, right? We'll just double click here, new database, and we can give any name, create. So there's the new database. Now, what's the next step? Taking a backup, right?
Yeah, take a full backup
Okay.
through UI.
Okay. Now, going to task, backup, and full backup ABC. Yeah. So the place we can change, or else like for now I can keep the same, but okay, let's change it. So this was yesterday's backup. I am keeping the same folder here, and ABC full.bak. .bak is the backup for full and differential backups. Is the extension. Okay, media option. This too we have to check, right, Devabrata? Verify
Yes.
backup and perform checks.
Uh, I'm not sure, but your wizard, your backup wizard is not visible to me. Can
Is
you guys
it?
see the backup wizard?
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see
Yes.
that.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
Media option.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
Saurabh, you were right.
okay.
Yep. So
So I've clicked the reliability two option, first two option, verify backup and finish and perform checksum. And now clicking on okay. Yeah, ABC backup completed successfully. So if we want to see that, we can go to the folder. Okay, okay, let's search the folder. Okay, so this is the folder, and we have ABC full backup here, around 3 MB. Okay, so full backup is done. I close. Okay, now again going to ABC task backup, and we are taking differential backup this time. Same procedure. In media options, we can click reliability, verify the backup, and perform checksum. In general, the location I'm keeping same, but I'll just change the name here. So backup ABC differential.bak. Okay.
Now be
Sorry, anyone saying something? Okay. Okay, let's continue. So ABC differential and this two done. Okay. Okay, so the differential backup is done. I closed it by mistake. Okay, so here we have ABC underscore differential dot BAK diff. So that's the differential backup. Now the next one, Katha log backup. Okay, fine. Again going to ABC task backup, and here we will click transaction log. Again we'll change the name here. So remove this, click on add, click on three dots, and here we'll type abc underscore whatever dot trn. And media option again, reliability, verify the backup and perform checksum. Click on OK, and we should have this. Yeah, abc underscore trans dot trn. So that's the transaction backup. With this, I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm done, Devabrata. All three created a database and all three backup are done. Were you able to see?
Uh, actually, I was not able to see, but that's okay. While you are describing, I got the idea what you are
Okay.
doing.
Okay. Okay.
All
Fine.
right. So, is it clear to everyone?
Yes, yes, clear.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, clear.
All right.
I'm
Let's
stopping
go
the.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, please stop the sharing. Let me go to Shreyash. Yeah, Shreyash, you can now share your screen. I hope you have the scripts available.
Um, yes, Devabrita, but please guide me. It is new for me. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
complete new
No,
file. Am I
I'm not
sharing?
going to. I'm not going to guide you at the very first
Okay,
place. So the class
okay,
is going to guide you. So it's a
okay.
collaborating effort. Okay. So
Uh,
the class
uh,
is going to guide you. If the
mhm,
class is failing to guide you, then only I will come into
mhm,
the picture. Okay.
okay.
So
Am I sharing the
everyone
screen?
is, yeah, your screen is visible. Everyone
Yeah,
please help
Can you please
Sreyash.
maximize your screen first?
yeah, I did.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Not okay.
Okay. So we're backing up here the XYZ. Please test. Okay. And we have to give the backspace. The disk. Complete purpose. Then we have to do this, and then have to choose the location. Would anyone please guide how to how to take the location of here? I forgot the
Shreyash,
part.
first of all, you have to change the database. If you're selecting the XYZ, then you should delete the text,
You
sorry,
have to
test
connect
and
with master database.
yeah.
I have to connect over here.
No,
No.
click on the databases folder.
Database folder,
Uh,
master data.
It's the second one from top.
So
okay,
the
No, no,
session
no.
session where Sreyash you are typing the query, the session is not connected. You need to open a new
Yeah.
query. Okay.
okay.
So
I have
click
to
on new
open a new
query.
carry and okay,
Yeah.
okay.
New query. Now change the database from full to change the database from XYZ to master.
After.
Okay. Yeah, to master.
Yeah, side.
No.
Yeah, at the
At
left
Change the
side.
database.
No, you need to
right.
click on
XYZ.
No, no,
that
no, no.
the outside
I need
folder,
to click.
database folder,
Uh,
in the left,
Left
on the
side
outside.
left
at top.
below view query. Yeah, below view query.
Below
No, 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 no. Oh,
view.
yes,
No,
that's
no, no.
XYZ. You have to click new query, and then after that, you
Just
have
click
to
on
change
query.
XYZ to
No,
master.
first click on XYZ.
Just click
I
on
have to click on
query.
XYZ.
Just
No,
you
no.
click on
Just click on
No, no,
this.
no,
query.
no.
On database.
Listen carefully. Listen carefully. You have to click on
Please.
new query first. After that, there is a XYZ. You have to change that into master.
Master.
Below that.
Below that, I have to click on new
Okay, guys,
query.
Yes,
hold
Uh,
on,
now
Now,
please.
click on.
Okay.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
Then
Decide,
I have to click
execute.
on.
Yeah. Now click on the drop down.
drop down option is there.
Where should I click?
Yeah. At top. Yeah, this one.
Beside
Before
Execute.
Beside
execute,
execute.
execute.
yes.
you
No, no,
have
no.
Beside execute.
Drop down option. Left,
This
left,
one.
left, left.
Master.
Yes. Master one.
yeah. Now you can type down the query.
Okay. Now I can write on the query, right?
Yeah. Now you need to first navigate to the location. Please open File
Okay.
Explorer. Go to C
Okay.
drive, Program Files, Microsoft SQL Server.
Not from here. Folder.
Yeah. Go to C drive, Program Files,
Program files.
Microsoft
SQL.
SQL Server. Your instance name, the last option, the last folder. MS SQL backup.
Backup.
Where should I
On
go?
top.
Top backup.
First
Okay.
top backup.
First one.
Okay.
Now in the address bar, copy the location. Click on the address bar. No, not there.
Mm-hmm.
At left. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There. Yeah. Copy the
Copy.
location.
Copy that.
Copy
Okay.
that.
And then give a backslash and put the file name. So this is the
And
location.
it's
You need to give the file name as well. So class, please guide him.
Yeah,
okay.
file name should be
I
just like master full dot script BAK and
Yeah.
then go.
is it right?
No, dot .bak you have to add in the end.
Uh,
Yes.
is
Dot
is it is it?
dot .bak.
Dot BAK.
I have to write
XYZ dot BAK.
Dot .bak.
uh, BAK
No. You can
Dot
write it like xyz underscore full dot .bak.
underscore full.
Dot .bak. B for Bangalore, A for Apple, K for Kangaroo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have to go, right?
Yeah, should work. Let's
Okay.
Yeah,
see.
yeah, right. Now execute
Let's
the
see.
And then I have
command.
to execute, right?
Yes.
Some error. Okay. Yes.
Completed.
No,
In the
the
database
terminal.
name, change the
Database
database
name
name
is
to
Hmm.
XYZ. XYZ backup.
And
What?
in the top. In the top, you
Backup
have
the
written.
database, change it to test. Oh, from test,
change
change
the
it to
database
XYZ.
Giving test to query.
change the
No, the
database
test.
name from test to
First
XYZ.
line. First line, you have written test, right? There, write
Okay.
XYZ, database name.
Yeah, database name is
Okay.
wrong.
Now it
Is it
should.
done?
Nice default. Yeah.
And one more
And
thing, the
delete the
master,
master also. Master
yeah,
also.
master, it's a commented out code. You don't need to put the comment out code. You can remove the double dash as well.
You remove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is the code.
Should I execute now?
Now
Yeah.
select first. Yeah, next.
Mhm.
Yeah. Done.
Select all and run.
Yeah, it is done
Okay.
already. Let's go to the
It is
folder
done.
and
It is done.
It's done. Okay. Okay, here's
Yeah.
8.41 KB. Okay, okay. Now I have to make
Now the
again
differential.
back to
You
database.
can
It
you
says
can copy the first code and you do little modification. That will be enough for differential backup.
okay,
Copy and paste.
okay. So
No more.
here what I have
Some.
to
Yeah.
Anything DIFF or whatever is fine. But
File name is there. You can.
the full form I have to write or DIFF would work.
that
No,
is up to you.
it's file.
Yeah, yeah.
It will
DI
work.
double.
Wait, Shreyas,
So
wait, wait.
we add
We
something,
have to
right?
change. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
differential, we have to add with the differential.
Add. Yeah.
In
At
the end,
last.
after the code,
Yeah.
after the code,
After one code. After quotation. Code.
outside that
What do you have to
location.
add
First do
after that
one
At
thing.
last.
location?
First remove the backup file from the location. So you have
Okay.
taken a full backup with a differential
Hmm.
name. You need to remove the backup file first.
Okay.
No, it's not
So
there.
hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So how would
So
I
you need to
remove
you
that?
need to add a parameter with this, and the parameter will
Uh,
be added after the location. After the red line, okay. After the red
mm-hmm.
string,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the end of the string,
Yeah,
you need to give a space, and there you need to
Mm-hmm.
add
differential.
with
With
space
differentiate. Mm-hmm.
with space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Class, please guide him.
Differential.
Differential.
Is it fine?
TIA.
T
The
TIAS.
spelling is
Okay.
Now select the command and execute.
Select the command and completion
Yeah.
time process. Okay.
Check check in the
Mm,
folder also.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's there.
Yeah.
Now
Okay, now I have
transaction.
to think through.
Now go for another one.
Let's see. Let's see. And then
Now
here,
type the log backup instead of
here,
backup
right?
database. No, first line backup database, blue words. Yeah, change
Log.
it to log backup instead of
done.
log backup.
Okay. And then over here,
And then change the differential also. No, in the red part, the red part also. Write
log, right?
log.trn
Yeah.
tr.
n
No,
instead
no,
of
little.
back.
Yeah, X Y Z after X Y Z. Yes, 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 yes.
Remove
Remove
with
this with also. Remove.
Should I execute?
Yeah, execute now.
Okay. Stage incorrect syntax near
backup log.
XYZ.
Right? Backup log. Go to backup first and then write log.
You have to go,
Backup
like,
log.
have to go back up now.
No, no, we have kept the first
Right?
log and later on
Backup
backup.
log.
First you have to write backup, later on you have to write log.
Yeah.
Okay, would you please repeat what you have said? It was
Yeah,
breaking.
listen. In the first row
Okay.
where you have written the
Uh-huh.
log
Write
backup, change
backup.
it to backup log.
Okay, okay, okay. Is it fine?
Yeah, try to
After
execute now.
backup type log. After backup type log. Yeah.
Okay, I did it. Okay, okay. Versus transfer database.
Yeah,
Hmm.
done.
Okay, it's not over here. Okay, it's done. Okay, okay. Perfect.
All right.
Done,
So
sir.
thank you, Suresh, and thanks everyone. So
sir.
is it clear to everyone about backup using UI using script?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So let's move on to
Yeah, clear.
restoration. Let me know once the screen is visible.
No, yeah, it's visible.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's visible.
So what is the what are different phases of restoration? Okay. So the first phase is data copy. That means whatever data is there in data file, right? Whatever data is there. So when we are taking a backup, we are taking a backup of data file and log file, right? So whatever is there in the data file, first we are going to do a data copy from the data file. Okay. So data copy creates file and copies data into the file. Next is what? Next we are going to apply the log file into the database. So in the log file, we have some committed data, we have some uncommitted data. What is the meaning of that? So when we are taking a backup, there are some transaction which has been completed. There are some transactions which are incomplete,
Incomplete.
right? So for the completed part, so these completed transaction we are going to apply on the database, and the incomplete part we are going to take out from the database, right? So the completed part which we are going to apply on the database, that is called as redo. Okay, applies committed transaction from restored log entries. So whatever log entry we have, that operation that is saved or the operation is completed, that we are going to apply on the database. And what is undo? We are going to take back those transactions or roll back those transactions that are uncommitted or incomplete in nature. Is this two operation clear to everyone? Redo and undo.
If you don't mind, can we have a look of
So can
that
you repeat once more?
to
All right. Let me give you one example. Hmm, so I have made some changes in this text file, right? So I have made some changes in the text file. Let me make some other changes as well. So let me add in the class file, let me add a comment incomplete dot dot dot, let's say. Okay. So at this point in time, if I want to close this file, so either I can save it or I can don't save it. If I don't save it, that means whatever changes I have made to the file, these would be reverted. Yes or no?
yeah,
Yes.
If I select don't save, that will do what? Whatever unsaved change I have in the file, that would be pulled out from this file, right? And
yes,
if I click on save, that means whatever changes that is there, it's going to apply those things in the file, right? So in the
yes,
same way, whatever changes that is there as a complete statement or complete transactions, those would be applied in the database, and the transactions which are incomplete in nature, those would be reverted from the database. Is it clear now?
Is
Yes.
redo is
Uh,
only on the log entries, not data entries, right?
Redo and undo operation is performed by log file.
Log
So,
files. Okay.
so we do data copy from data file, and from log file, we take transactions. Okay. Let me give you one more example. Let's say I am taking a backup. When I am taking a backup, this is very likely to happen that a transaction is in progress, right? It could happen that a transaction is in progress, right? The transaction is currently ongoing, yet to be completed, right? And it's also possible there are some completed transactions. Completed transactions on log file. So here we are talking about transactions on the log file which are yet to be reflected in the data file. So I have to go back to the previous slide now to give you some reminder. Okay, so we have learned about the transaction process, right? Mm, There it is. So we have made some changes. No, not this one. Yeah. So we had made some changes. The change. I mean, there are some transactions. The transactions are saved. Okay. So those saved transactions are, or the completed transactions are logged into the log file, but yet to be reflected in the data file. So if it is reflected in the data file, that would be directly copied from the data file itself in the data copy phase, right? Yes or no?
Actually, not
I
getting your
have made,
points.
yeah. So let's try to get in all the thoughts and try to start from the beginning. So we
Okay.
are updating something in the memory, right? When we are updating something in the memory, we are writing it into the log file. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
the log file is updating the data file, right? So whatever log file is been applied on the data file, so the data files are updated with those updated data, right? So at this point in time, if we take a backup of the data file and log file, so the data file will contain some updated data, and the data file will contain some data which is not updated because the log file are yet to be applied on the data file. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
If we take a backup of data and log file, that means the data file is having some updated data and some not updated
Hello.
data, right? Some data which is not updated or old data. So those old data need a help from the log file, and the log file will update those data. Yes.
Yes.
So if we take a backup here, so we'll take backup of data file as well as log, right? Now
Mm.
let's come to the restoration phase. In the restoration phase, we simply copied the data file, right? Now we need to do what? We need to apply these logs on the data file. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So we have copied this data file. This data file is having some updated information, some old information. So the old information, we need the transaction details and we need to apply this transaction to the old data to get the latest data, right? So first the data copy has been done. Now once the data copy is done, some old data are there, and these old data actually need the log file to get the latest version, right? So they are taking help from log file, and the log file is performing these two phases. One phase is redo. That means whatever transaction is successful, it will apply those transactions in the data file. And undo. Whatever transaction is not completed, it will simply bypass those transactions. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I mean, it's because you guys are fed up with saying didn't understand, or it's actually clear with you guys. Is it clear, or there are some doubt? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
it is
ready to
clear.
explain again. No
It's
issues with
clear
that.
now.
All right. So when we are performing, or when we are applying the log in the data file, or when we are applying the log in the database, then it is called as recovery. Okay. The last two phases in total, in combined, the last two phase is called as recovery phase. Okay. First is data copy phase and next is recovery phase. All right. So type of restores. So type of restore depends on the recovery model we have used. So as the recovery model will determine what are the different type of backups, in the same way the recovery model will decide what are the backups we are going to apply to restore our database. So if it's a simple recovery model, we are going to apply full and differential. If it's a full recovery model, we are going to apply full differential and log backups. Okay. So it's the same as taking a backup. Okay. I mean, when we talk about recovery model in terms of backup, the same thing goes for restoring a database and recovery model. Okay. So here we are going to see how we can restore a full database backup, how we can restore a differential backup, and how we can restore a transaction log backup. Okay. So restoring a full backup demonstration, differential backup demonstration, transaction log backup demonstration. All right. What is in sixth module? All right. Let me first remove all the backups. Okay. So let's say I want to take a backup of, let me delete these databases. And create a new database. is the recovery model. Recovery model is full. Okay. So database created. Let's take a full backup. Full backup done. So let's take a differential backup. Then let's take a log backup. So someone was asking me what is the UI method of taking a log backup, taking a tail log backup, right? So here is the option. So truncate the transaction log, and if you select this option, back up the tail of the log and leave the database in restoring state. So that is about taking a tail log backup. Anyway, so tail log backup I'll show later. Now let's talk about taking full. So I've taken a full, I've taken a differential, I've taken a log, right? So let's see those backup files. So I have these three backup files. Now what would be the restoration process? First we need to restore what?
The full backup,
First we need to restore which database? First we need to
full back,
restore full,
then
then we need to
differential
restore on top of that differential, then
and
on top
log.
of that we need to restore the log. Now there are some points to understand here. Whenever we are restoring full backup, we will be having two options: restore with recovery and restore with no recovery. Now what is the meaning of recovery and no recovery? So if you restore a backup using recovery option, that will not allow you to apply any further backup on top of the database. Okay. If you restore a database with no recovery, it will leave the database in inaccessible mode. At the same time, it will allow you to apply further backup on top of the database. Okay. So full backup, we need to restore with no recovery, because we still have differential backup and log backup to apply on top of it, right? So again, differential backup also will restore differential backup with no recovery and will restore log backup with recovery, because once the log backup is applied, we don't have any other backup to apply on the database, right? So this is the last backup that we are going to apply. So once the last backup is applied, we want to make sure the database is accessible for everyone and it's open to use. So recovery option will allow the database to come online and it will allow connections from other user, but it will not allow to apply any further log on the database. Okay, so let's see in practical, that will clear up the doubts. So our database is there. Let's drop this database.
So this is into. I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
So what if we do make a mistake? Means if we choose no recovery option, then there's any way to revert to that particular option?
No, no. You need to make sure you have chosen no recovery option. If by any mistake you have chosen recovery option here, then you cannot apply differential and log backup anymore. You need to start from the beginning again. All right. So let me restore the database backup now. So restore database. Where is the option? Right click on database. Click on restore database. Can you go on mute, please? Rinky?
Shinto, can you mute your mic?
Yeah. So right click on database. Click on restore database. Then I want to restore the database from what? I want to restore my database from a backup file, and the backup file is placed in storage device. So that is why I need to choose device. Here I need to browse and locate my backup file. So this is my backup file. XYZ underscore F stands for full. Okay. So I've selected the file. Let's click on OK. OK. So as you can see, it has taken the database name in the destination section. It also taken the database name, but we did not give the database name XYZ, or we did not supply it. So how we find the information? The information was there in the backup file. Okay. In the backup file, the information was there that the database name was XYZ. That is why it has taken the name automatically. Now you, in the destination section, you can simply change the database name. Let's say XYZ underscore restore. Okay. So the backup will be restored with this name, or the database will be created with this name. Okay. Let's go to files. Make sure you are allocating, you are checking on this checkbox that will reallocate, or that will create the database files into the default location of our instance. Okay. Then going to options, this is the option, restore with recovery. Let me maximize. Here we have restore with recovery, restore with no recovery. Now the last option, it's for lock shipping, so you don't need to worry about this. So recovery and no recovery. Now which option we need to choose here?
Recovery.
No
No
Why?
recovery.
recovery.
No,
No
We can
recovery.
choose recovery.
no.
We can choose recovery, no problem there. But that will not allow us to apply differential backup and log backup. So that will make the database accessible for everyone with this
We
amount
have to
of data
choose the
only,
backup.
right? So we cannot apply the other backups. As we are intending to apply differential backup and log backup as well, we must choose no recovery. Okay. So with no recovery. So else everything is looking good. All good here. This is the important option that we need to choose. Then let's click on OK. Database XYZ underscore restore restored successfully. So here you can see we have restored our database with the name of XYZ underscore restore. But we cannot see the database here. Why? Because the database is in restoring state, or in other words, no recovery state. So no recovery state is also known as restoring state. Okay. That means the restoration process is still going on. That means we are still going to apply some of the backups. All right. Now we need to right click on the database, go to task, click on restore, then database. Point to understand is initially we have right clicked on database folder and then clicked on restore. Now once the first set of backup has been restored and we have the database visible here, we will right click on the database, we'll go to task, restore database. Okay, so here you can see the database has been selected. Now we need to select device. Let's select the differential backup now. Okay, now let's go to files, click on this, options. Here again, which option we need to choose?
No recovery.
Yes,
No,
no
Why?
no
recovery.
recovery.
Why no recovery?
Because we have to go further for log.
Because
Uh,
For the
So we
Log.
need
log.
to apply log backup as well, right? So let's select no recovery. All good. Let's click OK. Database xyz underscore restored successfully. So differential backup also applied on this. Now let's right click, go to task, go to restore, then going to transaction log backup option. So now when we are restoring log backup, we have to choose the transaction log option. Okay, transaction log from device. Let's browse the file. This is the file, right? Check on this. So by default, last time full backup and differential backup, this was checked on by default. You need to make sure this one is checked on. What is this? This is the backup set, right? Or this is the transaction log backup that we have selected after browsing. So you need to make sure you are checking on this thing. Options. Now here we have again recovery, no recovery, and standby you can skip. This is not in use. So recovery and no recovery. Which option we need to choose?
Recovery.
First
recovery.
one.
Recovery.
Recovery. Why? Because we don't have any other backup to restore on the database. This is the last backup, right? So that is why restore with recovery. All good. Click on OK. Restore. Now you can see the option is now gone as we restored with recovery. Okay. Now we can make a connection with this database. Now this database is open for any new connection. So this is the restoration process. Yeah,
Debabrata,
tell
can
me.
you just repeat on no recovery in the recovery part once again, please?
So
In the
no
differential
recovery.
one, in the differential
Yeah.
one, we
So
have selected no recovery, right? Why we have selected that?
yeah,
Could you just repeat
yeah.
that, please?
Let me tell you. So no recovery will allow you to restore other backup sets on top of the database. So how many backup set you are going to restore? How many backups you are going to restore?
Three.
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 Full, one differential, one log. So what is the sequence? First full, then differential, then log, right? Now,
Yes.
if I restore the full backup with recovery, will it allow me to apply the differential and log backup on top of it?
No.
No.
No, sir.
It will
Of
only
course, no.
allow us to apply differential and log backup if we restore full backup with no recovery. So no recovery option will not allow to make new connections to the database. So the database will not be open for the users. At the same time, the database will allow you to apply new other database backups on top of the database backup. So no recovery option will allow what? no recovery will allow
differentiate and log.
other backup to restore on the database, and no recovery will not allow for any user connection to the database. Okay, is it clear to everyone?
Yeah, thank you, Devibrata.
Yes.
I have a question, Debabrata. And what
Mhm.
about the restoration of the tail log backup?
That will come next. That will come next. Okay. So is
Okay.
it clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So let's do one more thing. Taking a full backup, differential backup, log backup, and tail log backup. Okay. Let me drop all the backup files.
Devabrata, sorry to interrupt. One question.
Tell me.
Okay. So, let's say we have selected no recovery and continued the sequence. Okay. Like
Mhm,
full backup
mhm.
is done, differential is done, and while doing the transaction restore, right? Even
Log
there we
backup. Log backup by mistake we have, instead of
selected
recovery we have
no
selected no recovery.
Huh. So what to do there?
Okay. So hold your question. I'll come to that. That's a good
Okay.
question.
Okay.
So let me now give you the example of taking full differential log and transaction log. No, sorry, log and tail log, right? Let's do it. Full differential log mm, and finally tail log. Guys, please go on mute. So for tail log, we need to make sure we are checking this option. Back up the tail of the log and leave the database in the restoring state. Okay. So yeah, that's it. So the database went into restoring state. Now let's say, so you are talking about this thing, right? So we have, let's say we have restored our database till this point, but instead of recovery, we restored it with no recovery. That will leave our database into this, yes or no? Who was asking
Yes.
me the question?
Yes, yes,
So if we restore the log backup with no recovery, that will leave our database into restoring state, yes?
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
But we
Yes.
don't have any, other backup to apply on the database. Now to
Hmm.
recover this, we need to run this command: restore database, database name xyz underscore restore. Then the parameter is with recovery. That will bring our database from restoring state to online state. Okay, that's it. So you have this command here. Uh, where is it? Here it is. Restore database, database name with recovery. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's drop this database xyz underscore restore. And now it's time to do the restoration using the 4 backups. So here, full backup with no recovery, differential with no recovery, log with no recovery, and tail log with recovery. All right, let's do it. Device, full, okay. This is our name. Let's say xyz underscore r. This options, no recovery. Okay, restore with no recovery. That's good. All right. xyz underscore r. Now let's apply the differential backup. Restore database, device, differential, mm, all good here. Restore with no recovery. Okay, right? Differential backup restored. Now let's go and restore the log file. So going to transaction log on device. This is my log file. Done. Enabling this options. Restore with no recovery. All right. So why we are choosing restore with no recovery for log file? Any idea?
Because tail log
Because
is
we
there.
have to
We are have to go
restore
to
the
a
tail
further
log.
database.
We are yet to finish. We are at this stage. We are yet to apply this backup, right? That's why we are choosing no recovery. So no recovery, all good. Let's do it. And so you can see log backup is applied. Still the database is in restoring state. Now let's restore the tail log backup. restore with recovery. Okay, now we are going to choose restore with recovery. All looks good. Let's click on OK. Done. So here you can see now the database become online. So here we have applied all the 4 backups. The first 3 was restored with no recovery. The final backup was restored with recovery. Now, as I was telling you guys that every backup must maintain a sequence, right? So after full, we need to apply this differential. After differential, we need to apply this log. After log, we need to apply t log or this log. So what will happen if after full, we skip the differential and directly try to apply log? We are going to run in an error. So let me demonstrate that error. We cannot skip or bypass any backup file in between. Okay. So let's restore the full backup first. On device, let's select the full backup. Full backup is there. Restore with no recovery. All right. Restore the full backup. Now, instead of differential backup, if I skip the differential backup and directly try to apply the log backup, let's see what will happen. Let's go to task, restore, log. So here you can see we are getting 2 options of log file, right? But I don't want to apply the, let me see. No, I want to restore from device. So from device, let me choose the log backup. Instead of the differential backup, let me choose the log backup. Okay. Log backup I have chosen. And then let's say restore with recovery or no recovery, whatever it is. Let's try to attempt restore log file on top of full backup. So it has been restored. Do you know why?
You should
Any
say,
idea?
you said it won't happen.
Hmm?
You said it will not accept, but it accepted. So maybe you can answer that. I'm not sure why.
Because full backup is self-sufficient. Because full backup has enough detail to apply any other backup set on top of it. So if we do the same thing on differential backup, it will fail. So doing restoration from device, instead of full, let's select differential.
No, so that is wrong, right? Like differential cannot restore without any basic base backup.
Right. So let me show it to you guys. I'll come to that sequence also. Okay. So I'm trying to restore the differential backup directly. That's giving us an error.
User.
Okay. The same thing applies for log backup as well. Now the question is why, why there was no discrepancy when we skipped the differential backup? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what could be the reason? And we need to go in detail for explaining this, but still, anyone wants to explain why we applied full backup and then we skipped the differential backup and we directly applied log backup without any issue? Why is so?
I think full backup covers all differential and log.
That's one aspect, but still we should not be able to skip the differential backup. That's one aspect, that full backup is holding the entire structure, right? So that is why we can apply the log backup. That's still there, but we should maintain the sequence, right? But
Yes.
we skipped the sequence, but there was no impact. The reason is when we are taking a full backup, it's holding some information. When we are taking differential backup, it's holding some information. So full backup is holding some information, but this differential backup is not holding any information. Why? Because the differential backup will hold the change that has been made after full backup. Did we inserted any record in the database? Did we perform any operation on the database in terms of data change? Like creating a table, inserting 100 rows in the table, deleting some information from the table? No, right? So in the differential, there was nothing which was written in the data file. That is why the differential backup has no sequence, no transaction sequence that was entered in the differential backup. In other words, we call it LSN or log sequence number. I'm very poor at spelling.
ACCQUENCE.
Log sequence number.
Oh, I see. I see.
Anyway, you understand it, right? So as there was no transaction which was happening when we took the full backup and we took the differential and log backup. That is why there was no LSN mismatch when we skipped the differential backup. So every backup is linked with the next backup using LSN number. Okay, let's say the LSN number is nothing but a sequential number that will keep a track of the transaction. Okay, so let's say full backup is holding LSN number from 1 to 500. Okay, because in the full backup there are total 500 transactions. So the differential backup, the LSN will start from 501. Okay, from 501, let's say till 700, because there were 200 transactions after the full backup, right? Next, the log backup. The log backup will hold the LSN number from 701, let's say, till 750, because 50 transactions happen after the differential backup. Now, as you see, every backup set is linked with each other. Now, if you apply full backup, that means the LSN number is 500, right? Now, it's expecting a backup file which will start restoring from 501, right? Now, instead of restoring from 501, if we apply 701, what will happen? SQL Server will get confused and it will tell or prompt to the user, you have a missing database file, right? So there are missing sequence, there are sequence mismatch which is happening in between the backup sets. So you must start with this sequence number. Instead, you are starting with this sequence number. That is called as LSN mismatch. Okay. So this LSN mismatch happens when we have some transaction in a backup set. But in this case, we are not performing any insert, update, or delete operation when we are taking the differential backup or log backup. That is why The full backup, let's say the full backup is having the sequence number 1 to 10. The differential backup is having 10 to 10. The log backup is also having 10 to 10, because there is no transaction happen during the differential backup, no transaction happened during the log backup. That is why when we restored full backup, the LSN number was 10, and when we applied the log backup on top of full backup, the log backup started with LSN 10 only. That is why it was not confusing to SQL Server, because no, sorry, it would be from 11 to 11. That is why when we applied the log backup and skipped the differential backup, it was not confusing to SQL Server, because the sequence started from 11 only. Is it clear to you guys, or it was too confusing?
So it is a bit
So,
confusing, sir. Could you repeat once again?
Devabrata, one question. I think that will
Hmm.
clear out. So this LSN number is like a continuous unique number, correct? Because it
Correct.
will the transactions will contain all the changes in the database.
Yes. So it's a
Oh,
sequential number.
okay, got it. It will be increasing all the time, like always it will be
It
going
will be
on.
increasing from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dot, 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 10,000, whatever the
Hmm.
number is. So it will keep
Okay,
on increasing, ever increasing number.
okay,
Okay.
okay, okay. Got it.
So the number will reset when? Any idea? When the number will reset?
It should never reset actually. Only when the database is dropped, then it will reset maybe.
No. The number will reset only when we take a full backup.
Okay,
Full backup will reset the LSN number,
but why will it reset?
because full backup is holding the entire data set. Whatever data I'm having, it's copying the entire data, and then it start the calculation that after full backup these many transactions happen, after differential backup these many transactions happen, after log backup these many transactions happen. But for full backup we don't have to count any transaction, because full backup is holding the entire data file, entire log file. So it's having the entire data. It is not linked with any previous backups. It's self-sufficient. That is why full backup don't need any LSN number. LSN number starts from a full backup only.
Okay. I thought LSN starts when the database is created from the beginning. No, right?
No.
Okay, got it.
LSN will reset when we take a full backup. So that's a tricky topic. At this point, it's kind of difficult to understand. So I will recommend not to get into this topic right away. After some classes, you guys would be more in. I mean, you guys would be in more comfort to um, discuss about this LSN and discuss about this topic. When we know about transaction details, okay, transaction control languages, then we can start about. I mean, then this kind of discussion will make more sense. Okay. I just discussed about this topic because we ran into a situation where we restored full backup, and on top of that we restored log backup, which did not give us any problem, right? That is the only
Yes.
reason I discussed this topic. All right. So
Yeah.
anyone is having any questions on the restoration process, the
No.
restoration technique?
So,
I
Saurabh again. Uh, just a small query about this LSN. Okay. So, is there a way we can find LSN number of all the readers? Because let's say there are like backup of 1000. Okay, so 1000 backups are there, and we want to find the next sequence. So is there a way to find the LSN number, or we have to just see the backup names and only then we can do it?
Here you can see the LSN number.
Okay, okay,
First
okay.
LSN, last LSN, checkpoint LSN, full LSN, everything would be there in the backup set. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it. So even if the names are not correct, we can find out with it properly.
That is too difficult to find in real life scenario. So that is why maintaining the backup sequence is very critical. If you miss any backup in between, you won't be able to recover the database, because matching the LSN number manually is next to impossible. Okay. So you need to make sure you are maintaining the backup sequence. All the files in the backup sequence are maintained in correct way. That it is the only way to restore a database.
Okay, got it.
Guys, about restoration process, any question?
No, sir.
All right. So today we learned about taking tail log backup, copy only backup. We have learned about the standard backup strategy. Then we have learned about restoration, full backup, differential backup, log backup. This is one example. We learned about different stages of restoration, and this is the restoration from script. Okay. So this is part of homework that I want you guys to perform. Okay. So what is it? Restore database. It's as simple as doing the backup using script. Okay. So restore database, our database name. Okay. From disk, this is the full database backup location with recovery. So that will recover our database. So we are only restoring the full database backup. That means restore only full database backup. And in this set, I want to restore full and differential. So the full backup I am going to restore with no recovery, and the differential I am going to restore with recovery. So that is the homework task for you guys. You guys can check. So let me ping the homework to you guys in the chat. Guys, please check the script which is available. For this, you need to take the backup and update the script. Okay, then you can perform the restoration with the script. All right, so that's it for today. In the next class, we are going to start learning about monitoring tools. Thanks everyone, and we'll be catching up in the next class. Good night.
Thank you, Devarata. Good night.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night,
Good
sir.
night, sir.
Good night, sir.